very moment, right? I know it was no. I know that it was no touching. I know that it was no kissing. Same thing I said about the other chick. Oh, he be at my bar. The world keep looking for a reason to break my family up.
You know how every messy story starts with two things that don't belong together? Bad timing and a camera phone? That's exactly what lit this one on fire. Hours after Tamar Braxton told the world she almost died from a mysterious accident that left her with a fractured nose and missing teeth, the internet started whispering that she'd been getting real familiar with Yandy Smith-Harris's husband, Mendeecees, at an Atlanta lounge. And then, like she planned the plot twist herself, Tamar drops a teaser for her new project starring Mendeecees as the leading man. Baby, how did we end up here? Let's set the stage before we pour the tea. Tamar says she woke up in a pool of blood, woozy, hurt, and honestly shaken. She asked for prayers and said she was too weak to even talk much about it yet. That alone would have carried headlines for a week, but the streets were already cooking up another dish. Apparently, she and Mendeecees were seen at the V12 lounge in Atlanta, close enough to spark 1,000 "oh really" comments. And at the exact same time, the teaser for her new EP and movie hits the feed with Mendeecees as the love interest. That's when the timeline started connecting dots it maybe shouldn't, or maybe should. You decide.
Here's why that matters. Yandy and Mendeecees aren't just any couple. They're reality TV veterans whose relationship has been through prison time, public fights, and the kind of rumors that would have most people throwing phones at walls. On camera, they've shown the pretty and the petty, the nice moments and the not so cute ones, and recently things have felt off. We're talking scenes where Mendeecees basically says the marriage doesn't always feel like a romance, more like a partnership with paperwork.
Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Enough is enough! I am sick of it! Let it be one family that sticks together! Let it be one couple that makes it! Put some back on my name and on the Harris name! You gotta stop it! Stop playing with me! And I'm not gonna say it again!
Not divorce tomorrow energy, but definitely we're not good right now energy. Meanwhile, Yandy herself has admitted she had an emotional connection with someone outside the marriage, a soft way of saying a line got a little blurry, even if it didn't cross into the physical. Put that on a timeline with Tamar plus Mendeecees co-starring, and you see why folks started foaming at the mouth.
But this is where the story takes a turn, because just as the internet is pointing at Tamar for stepping into a marriage-sized minefield, a different angle slides in. Maybe Tamar and Mendeecees were together that night because of work. That's the official explanation floating around, that he's her leading man for a visual tied to her new project. And honestly, that part tracks. Tamar's a performer, she likes a narrative, she knows how to pull attention. Casting a reality TV star with a fan base, that's a headline by design. The real question is, were those 1 a.m. optics strictly business, or do late night vibes tell a different story? Let's rewind a little more, because these threads don't start with Tamar. Lately, Yandy and Mendeecees have been buzzing with different kinds of allegations. A former bestie airing dirty laundry, a London trainer making claims that had people clutching phones, and castmates who can't help but stir the pot when cameras are rolling. It's giving we were standing next to a match and someone bumped the table. First, that ex-friend. Yandy's former hairstylist set the timeline ablaze, accusing her of sneaking around during a London trip. The kind of accusations that feel personal, like they're born in group chats and DMs, not courtrooms. And then a trainer in the London mix posted that he was involved with Yandy, and that it wasn't a one-time thing. He framed it like a confession, not here to argue, just taking responsibility and moving on. It read like closure, and also like gasoline. Of course, internet memory is long, and when people start sifting through old receipts, Mendeecees gets his share of smoke too. We've seen him in DMs he maybe shouldn't be in.
If this house is going to come down, it's going to be me or Mendeecees that are taking it down brick by brick. That's it. Nobody else can do it.
We've watched women go live and drop little "I saw him with so-and-so" hints like crumbs on a counter. Some of those claims get walked back, some get amplified, and every time it happens, Yandy does something that confuses her critics and impresses her supporters. She steps in front of the bullet. She'll flip the narrative. She'll say it was her on the account, not him. She'll stand up on camera and tell you the world wants to break up her family, and she's not letting that happen. Love her or not, she's consistent. She defends her house like there's a camera over the doorbell. That's why Tamar's cameo in this saga, whether she asked for it or not, hits like it does. Because to some folks, putting your husband in another woman's romance visual is a trust exercise. To the rest of the internet, it's a red flag disguised as a casting call.
Now let's really walk through that night in Atlanta. The rumor is that Tamar and Mendeecees were at V12, cozy enough for people to start whispering, and that when the place closed, the party moved elsewhere. You already know how the internet operates. If you're outside at 1 a.m. with someone who isn't your spouse and the two of you are smiling like you share secrets, it's not just friends kicking it, it's Exhibit A. The messy part is we don't know exactly what happened. Maybe it was a rap meeting for the project. Maybe it was a random link up. Maybe it was exactly what it looked like to strangers with iPhones and opinions. What we do know is that people were primed to read it the worst way, because the background noise around Yandy and Mendeecees has been loud for months, and you can feel Yandy's frustration. She's had women come at her with "your man tried it" stories, and she meets them with a mix of calm, steel, and okay then energy.
Everybody in Atlanta and everybody knows it. You're not going to talk to him like that. But I am. And what are you going to do to us? And what are you going to do? You're not going to talk to him. Don't play with me. Don't play with him. Don't play with me with him.
There's a pattern. Someone accuses, Yandy holds the line, and Mendeecees plays cool until the story runs out of air. We've even seen the "don't talk to my husband like that" stance turn into a near fight. Yandy isn't faint-hearted, and she's not easily embarrassed, which is why, if you believe the whispers, she's furious that Tamar, of all people, walked into the middle of her already spinning storyline. Not just because of respect, but because of timing. The optics couldn't be worse. And if you think that sounds like Hollywood folklore, wait until you hear how the castmates poured kerosene on this. Sierra Gates hopped online and hinted she'd seen Mendeecees out with a married woman, even saying she had receipts. That set off a whole cycle of did she or didn't she, until she clarified and calmed the waters a bit. Then Alexis Sky's camp added their own "he's been doing this" gas, and later apologized for letting that narrative ride on her platform. That's the problem with public mess. Even when someone pulls a claim back, the stain stays on the timeline. People remember the accusation, not the correction. Meanwhile, Tamar's side isn't quiet either. As soon as she teased the EP and movie and people realized Mendeecees is involved, the "is this a stunt" crowd got loud. She posted that she almost died, then she promoted a project. To some folks, those two realities can't coexist without a side eye. Tamar denied faking anything, period. But that's how messy cycles keep spinning. Grief, shock, promotion, and rumor all hit the camera at the same time. It's no longer a story, it's a storm. So what's actually true and what's internet embroidery? Here's the cleanest read you're gonna get. Tamar says she had a serious accident and is recovering. That's her reality.
It's like this high school game we playing with each other. You do something to me, I do something to you, right? When they start to see signs like the ring coming off or we not following each other, they try to put this puzzle together and create their own narrative.
So what?
Yeah, I'm telling
So
you. But
what?
listen, we hurting each other, right? And not only we hurting each other, we hurting these kids.
In DC feels like there is truth to what my friend is saying.
Have you ever had a physical or emotional affair on your husband?
I've definitely had an emotional connection with someone outside of my husband, and we had to deal with it.
He's also promoting a new body of work and a film-style visual, and Mendeecees is in it. That's documented. Rumors say they were seen close at a club late. That's chatter. On the home front, Yandy and Mendeecees are in a tense season that's spilled onto our screen, with Yandy owning up to an emotional connection elsewhere and Mendeecees admitting the marriage feels shaky sometimes. That's on record. Some people around them have added messy commentary that's half confessional, half clout chasing. That's the part you have to hold with 2 fingers and squint at. And because this is real life, not just reality TV, here's the part folks forget: families. Yandy and Mendeecees have kids who didn't ask for any of this. Tamar has her son Logan and a long history of battles she's been open about: mental health, heartbreak, rebuilding. When the comments get cruel, there are real people behind those headlines. It doesn't mean the gossip disappears, it just means there's a cost. Let's talk motives for a second. Money, mistakes, or just mess? If you're Tamar, casting makes sense for visibility. Love and hip hop audiences are loyal and loud. If you're Mendeecees, being on screen with a Grammy-nominated singer keeps your name buzzing beyond the show. If you're Yandy, you either see this as harmless promo or a reckless choice that disrespects the house. And if you're the internet, you barely need a reason. You don't care what the contract says, you care what the camera shows. Still, there's a pattern with this trio that's hard to ignore. Yandy places the brand of her marriage above everything else. That's her constant. She'll deny, deflect, reframe, and protect, even if it makes her look ride or delusional depending on who you ask. Mendeecees keeps his cool, rarely throws gas on the fire, and lets the women around him handle the narrative. Tamar, she's always been a magnet. She knows how to channel pain into performance and controversy into views. If you hired a writer to craft this triangle, they'd be proud of themselves.
And before we wrap, there's one final detail that might matter more than all the whispers: impact. Whether this was strictly business or something more, the visual drops are about to turn speculation into screenshots. People will analyze how close they stand, how his hand sits on her lower back, how they look at each other between lines. That's how this era works. Optics become facts. And once the comments decide what they saw, you can't unsee it for them. So here's the question I'll leave you with. If your relationship is already limping, do you let your partner headline someone else's heartbreak story in prime time? Or do you draw a line and say, not this project, not right now? Was Tamar wrong for casting him, or was it just perfect timing for an audience that lives off chaos? And if you're Yandy, do you double down on protecting your house, or finally say we need a timeout from the cameras so we can fix what the cameras keep breaking?
Drop your take in the comments. Was the V12 sighting the start of something, or just another late-night rumor riding on bad optics? Should Tamar have picked a different leading man, and does Yandy's defense help or hurt her long-term? If you're here for real receipts over rumors, make sure you're subscribed, hit that like, and share this with somebody who watches the show but pretends they don't, because whatever this is, publicity, coincidence, or scandal, it's not done yet. And when the next piece drops, you know we're coming back with